Good morning to everybody, and welcome to the West Ham Network. The morning after the game, disappointing. Well, the result was absolutely no one can argue that going out of a cup competition, especially when we've been playing well in it and knocking out some of the so-called bigger teams. It's a disappointment when you go out, and especially losing to the likes of Spurs as well. But I just want to kind of reflect on the game. I was there yesterday with a number of friends, and we were watching the game, and we was watching how it was unfolding. And I think one thing that we could see was just how well we actually played, despite the result. We went out there with a depleted team. We know we've got just about half, the whole of our back line missing, Creswell missing, Zuma, Ogbonna. Johnson was back, but he played in a kind of slightly different role. But Sufal being suspended as well. So your whole back line missing, and still no striker. We had we had a number of players out, well, a few players out because of COVID, apparently. Antonio is the latest player to apparently have caught it. So you go out there with a depleted squad and you play against Spurs when you could see that they've already had a couple of weeks off, etc. And they actually played really well against Liverpool. And a lot of people were saying we're going to get smashed. This is going to be the start of the real downfall of West Ham United. And it was quite interesting that a lot of fans were already writing us off before a ball was even kicked, which was disappointing. One can understand that we've not been playing well over the past few weeks, not since the international break. And I think people put two and two together and sort of and make really sort of rash assumptions sometimes. And so going into the game, there was a lot of negativity from a lot of fans. Oh, we'll be lucky if we only lose 3-0. We'll be lucky if we don't get a spanking, etc., etc. But what we saw in that game, I think, was encouraging to all West Ham fans, to be quite honest with you. Um, with a depleted team, none of our first starting back line, still no striker to speak of, etc. We went and we actually took the game to Spurs last night, and I think we did really well. Okay, the scoreline itself it wasn't for us, but I think a number of players sort of demonstrated that they can do a job for West Ham United, and I just want to just go through them quite briefly, and we'll start right at the back. Along Areola couldn't you couldn't fault him for either goal. Not his fault at all, and he kind of he's showing why he would be a suitable successor to Fabianski. He actually played really quite decently. He had nothing to do in the second half, but if it weren't for him, we probably would have gone into the second half, maybe, sort of a greater scoreline to Spurs. So he actually played really well. Youngster played as a right wing back. Harrison Ashby took his time to settle in, some sloppy early passes, but he grew into the game. But I just wonder. I think Moyes clearly wanted to sort of keep the formation of five at the back, but I just wonder if Harrison Ashby might have benefited if he'd sort of went into a back four, as a traditional right back. But he's someone to watch out for. We seem to have had quite a few young right backs coming through the ranks, haven't we? And Gakia, who we all knew about, went off to Watford. Johnson himself, and now Harrison Ashby. So it's looking good in that position, and I quite like what I saw of him coming back from injury. Ben Johnson. He was asked to play in a right of a three at the back, and he did extremely well. Really composed. Great versatility for him, being able to play in various positions. But as I just mentioned a moment ago about Ashby maybe going back to a additional right back role, Moyes could have changed it by putting Johnson over on the left and having a flat back four. And I just wonder if that would have made any difference at all. Not sure. Um, Craig Dawson, well, I wasn't for Dawson when he first came in. He surprised me by doing what he did at West Ham United last season. I think he fell away at the end of last season, but now that he's been called upon, he put in another commanding performance against Spurs last night, and and thankful that he's actually part of the squad. But you can't say much the same about Issa Diop. I've been quite uh, I like Diop. I thought Diop would be a player that would just improve and improve, and he kind of demonstrated earlier in the season, especially in the Europa League, that he could do a job for us. But he was culpable yesterday for both goals. You know, alongside Masuaku, dived in, I think, in the for the first goal when he shouldn't have done, which sort of like lost our position. Not as commanding a performance as we kind of hoped for, and it's such a shame because. I think there's a good defender in there, but I just wonder, whether Diop is just not doing it for West Ham at the moment. And then the last player at the back, I don't know what to say about him. I know what you're all going to say. Here you go again, having a go at Masuaku, but let's be really honest. He was awful for want of a better description. He was standing when Spurs scored their second goal. That was right in front of us. We were only about sort of 7 or 8 rows from the front, 10 rows or something from the front. We could see it quite easily. Lanzini got out muscled. Masuaku just ball watched. He was watching the Lanzini get out muscled, and for the player to cross it into the box for their second goal. And I know I keep harping on about it, but Lanzini offers, Masuaku offers nothing in defence and offers even less going forward. And it's such a shame because he's been with us for a number of years now and he's still not the sort of player that he's a luxury player that we could do without. But when you look at the back line, when you look at all the players that were, by the way, that's another cat. We're looking after a cat. It's not my cat. It's a friend's cat. When you're looking at the back, I just noticed that she was sitting there behind me. When you're looking at the back line, the first half was, those two goals were not good. They were defensive errors. But in the second half, we although Spurs sort of sat back, there was nothing much for our defenders to do, and it allowed us to go forward more. And I think what I really want to talk about is how we drove forward in the second half. We were on the edge of our seats in the second half. In the first half, I think we actually played all right, and I think we were quite disappointed that we went into half time being 2-1 down, especially scoring that our goal. Bowen's great goal. That was a great strike. He's continuing to show that he can lead the front line. He continued to create problems against Spurs, and it was a great, really, really well taken goal. So to actually lose a goal straight after that was really disappointing because I think we were beginning to edge it from the first half. But in the second half, we went out there, and the only thing that was missing, obviously, is finishing. Something that I do hope. I know people have thought in the past that I talk about transfers and I'm suggesting that we don't need a striker. I've never said that. We do need a striker, but a goal poacher last night would have relished the opportunities that we created because we created a lot of chances. We were at them, and we were we were saying that this goal is coming. Our equaliser is coming. We honestly felt that the way that the team was driving forward, and this is the thing about yesterday's game, if we'd lost, and we know we haven't been playing well since the international break. There was a cameo second half performance against Chelsea, but every game since Wolves, apart from that second half against Chelsea, every game since Wolves has been a bit like, "Oh, we're not quite with it, we're not quite doing it. It's not great form, etc." What last night demonstrated to me was there's fight in this team, and I think this is a good platform for us. Despite the defeat, this is a good platform for us to shift our season again into the gears that we were at before the international break. We look good, we look threatening, we were on the front foot. We look so much better when we're on the front foot, and we were saying, in the crowd, if only we did half that against Arsenal last week, we may have got something out of that game as well. Because going forward the way we did, there was passion there was drive, there was energy. We were creating chances. Unfortunately, when you don't have an out and out goal scorer, those chances go to waste, and that's the thing that kind of let us down. And it is the thing that I'm hoping that Moyes will address. Moyes has got two things to address, and we all know this. This is no secret. This is no sort of revelation. Moyes has to address what's going on at the back. Diop, unfortunately for me, I was really hoping that he would come in and do something, really cement his place in that team. Dawson is doing it. Diop is being haphazard. And I think we know that we need a defender, but we clearly need someone who's central left, so who can also play at left back as well as central defence, because Creswell. Again, we were told he was near coming back, and it looks like Creswell may be out for even longer than we kind of hoped, because this injury that he's got clearly is more serious than we anticipated. So we need someone and we miss him. We miss him badly. We miss his defensive qualities. We miss his crossing, etc. It's evident that there's a large hole there when Creswell's not around, and we need someone there clearly to fill in that left back slot. But someone who can play central defence, or someone who can also play left back. We're not getting two players in. I'd be very, very surprised. So left-sided centre back is quite crucial. Our midfield is fine. Even Vlasic last night showed some quality. He was bit disappointed he was taken off, because he sort of got more and more into the game as the game was carrying on, and it was kind of disappointing that he was taken off. Lanzini, wasn't his usual best. We know that he blows hot and cold sometimes, and just unfortunately last night was one of those cold moments. So we need, but having said that, I think our midfield is fine. But we clearly also need, in addition to the centre back who can play left side, we clearly also need a striker. Now we're aware that Antonio has got COVID. I think it's pretty evident that he won't make the game against Southampton on Boxing Day, and so it looks like Bowen will lead the line again. But there's one player that I thought wasn't even on the bench, that I thought might have been given an opportunity last night, was this young lad, Armstrong Flex, and I was really surprised he wasn't at least on the bench. Because he would have offered us. I'm not saying he would have been a game changer, but he would have offered us something a bit different. So. Going into the transfer window, it's evident, isn't it? It's evident. We already know that we need reinforcements at the back, but we also need a striker. I mean, look at the match stats. Okay, we know the most important stat is the goals, but we had 50% possession, 16 shots, of which 5 were on target. And of those 5, Lloris pulled off some excellent saves, and in fact, he was. You could argue quite evidently that he was the man of the match for for s- um, for Spurs last night. I mean, he was. He was imperious in goal, and he made the difference. He made the difference. We had a number of chances in the first half. I think something like 3 chances in the first half in succession from corners, etc. And then that looping save he made right at the death of the game as well. Um, so we know we need a striker. We know we need a centre back. But like I said, what was important for me was the performance. For me, I didn't walk away from that stadium last night. I was disappointed, obviously, disappointed that we are out of the Carabao Cup. Clearly, every West Ham fan but I wasn't disappointed at the performance. And what that makes me think is that there's a platform there that we can build from that. We put in performances like that with half our squad missing week in, week out. We'll be absolutely fine. Now, again, I'm a fool for doing it, but looking on, social media and the way again. But thankfully, a lot of fans have been saying much the same thing. The performance was good, the effort was good, the drive was good, and had that been a really, really poor performance against Spurs, I think I've been, talking a very different, doing a very different video now. But the fact that the performance was actually there, the fact that there was some effort there, some drive, clearly demonstrates that there's still a lot of ability in this squad, and I think that stands us in good stead. And with a few reinforcements coming in as well, January can't come soon enough, I guess. Let's have a look and see who's in the chat. Um, Good morning to you, Jordan. By the way, this is a new show. I don't know if it's going to be done regularly. The Good Morning Show, Good Morning West Ham. It can only be done regularly if I have the time to do it. You know, mornings are sometimes a bit difficult. But what I might do, which you may or may not like, what I might do is maybe do some pre-recorded morning shows. So record them and then put them out around about 10, 11 o'clock each morning. What do you think of that? Would you mind pre-recorded shows, or would you prefer the live shows? Morning, Jordan. Disappointing result, but honestly, I love this team. I hope you have a great Christmas and can't wait for the three matches afterwards. I hope you have a fantastic Christmas too, mates. And we've heard that I think we're gonna be okay for the next game on Boxing Day. There's a possibility that thereafter we may go into lockdown. What a shame, because Southampton winnable at home. Watford away, they're a bit up and down, but I think we can get a result out of that. Palace would be difficult away, but we get something out of that. They're not an easy team to play against. But yeah, it looks like it might be behind closed doors, unfortunately. Good morning to you, Neil. 9:48 p.m. on a Thursday night to you. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. James, good morning all. The quadruple is still on. Well, exactly. Um, Here we go. Someone taking the piss out of me. Clearly, it's Anton. Um, Good morning, Griffith. Oh yeah, that's going. We had that before, and I don't know what the hell it means, but whatever it means, you're gone. Um, Crosshammer, good morning to you. Kaiser, good morning. Jake, take no notice of them, of Russ or Anton. I keep telling you, Jake, follow my guidance and you'll be a superstar. Listen to Anton or Russ and you'll go nowhere. Kaiser, good morning. Bowen's goal was well taken, playing in the right position at last. See, I think he played really well. I think, he can easily grow into that role. And I'm not suggesting for a minute that we shouldn't go out there and get a striker. I think we need a goal poacher. I think we do. But Bowen's goal was very well taken. Um, Jake, ask him in private. Vinay, we have to just support Moyes and the players. We've gone from going from fourth from bottom to fourth from top. Absolutely good point. Well done, mate. Um, it's not gold, it's yellow, and I've actually taken it from the images that Russ gave us. So there you go. Chuck, good morning to you. Hope you're well. Russ, I prefer Ashbury in a more attacking sense, like Ashby as a wing back from than a right back. I don't know. I think he kind of, and certainly in the first half, he kind of looked a little bit lost. I think he was just feeling his way as a wing back, and he was hugging that touchline as he clearly was told to do. But it's quite interesting when we saw Longello play a few weeks ago in the Europa League game. Um, Longelo looked like he understood the role of left back stroke wing back because he was cutting in, going back, etc., etc. But Ashby just sort of kind of hugged the touchline a bit too often. So I think he's learning that role. And I just wonder if we'd have gone with four at the back, well, maybe that would have given us a bit more attacking impetus. Jordan, we did attack and pressure them more than I expected. It's just defensively we messed up and up what was to be expected with all the injuries. Yeah, we gave them two very, very, very soft goals. Spencer, good morning to you. Bar humbug, it. Yeah, but you know what? I'm not over. I'm disappointed that we went out of the cup. Absolutely. Was I disappointed at the performance? Absolutely not. The performance was good, really, really good. And I think what was good about it was that a lot of fans were saying that Spurs are going to thump us after what they saw against Liverpool when Spurs played Liverpool. I think a lot of fans turned around and went, "Oh my God, this is it. They're going to get." But we were not only were we in it, we were dominating. We were dominating the game, and I think that's the thing that gave me a lot of encouragement. The fact that we are actually taking it to them. I mean, you know. 50%, 57% possession away from home. Now I know that's not the stat that counts, because you can have 30% possession and win. But it just showed that we were trying really hard. That the thing that we lacked was the obvious things. Two soft goals and no finisher at the front. But yeah, it is a shame. It is a shame we're out. Um, Jake Ashby was excellent. He grew into the game. Absolutely, totally agree. It took him a little bit of time, but it took a little bit of time. But he grew into the game. Into the game. Um, I wasn't for Dawson. Come on, Stel, sing his praises. I did. You know, no. What I'm saying is, when Dawson first came into the club, none of us were that inspired by it, and he demonstrated that he was worthy of his £2.5 million signing. He fell away at the end of last season, and it worried me. But he's come back, and he's come back with aplomb, and fair play to him. Good morning to you, GP. I hope you're well. Um, who else is in the chat? Jordan, is there a way to block another YouTube channel just quickly? Dyer said he is going to make a show about me later, and I want to avoid it coming up in my just I don't know. I think there's a way of deleting it. I'm not sure, mate. I don't know, to be honest. Can anyone advise, Jordan? Um, Jake Lanzini was at fault for both. Lanzini was at fault for both of those goals. Jake, you need to have a look again, mate, because I can't put that down to Lanzini. Lanzini was trying to do his duty by coming back and helping the defence out, but they were right in front of us. Lanzini was being bullied off the ball, and Masuaku was just standing on the side, just looking. Masuaku, go and help, double up, go and help, and get that ball away instead of allowing the player to get it off Lanzini and cross it in. I can't fault Lan. You're putting blame on an attacking midfielder for both their goals when it was absolutely Masuaku's fault and Diop who dived in for the first goal as well. Anton, we can't read your slide. Doesn't matter. You need to put your glasses on. Show us the cat. The cat's behind me. She's asleep. Anyway, it's Masuaku's cat. Good morning, Vinay. Neil, just unsubscribe for that. There you go. Unsubscribe. That's all you got to do. Show us the cat. The cat's there. There you go. That grey thing there is asleep. Spencer, Dawson was man in the match, in my opinion. Well, Declan was. Declan was another machine on that pitch last night. He ran that midfield. It's just, do you know what? I don't want to really say this, but I'm gonna have to. The way Declan was clapping the fans last night. Oh, I don't want to say it, but it kind of felt, for the first time, I started to think he's relishing the last games for West Ham United, and like really showing his appreciation for the fans, because let's not go there. Let's not go there. I'm going to say no more. Cal, Diop is our fourth choice defender. Arthur is second choice left back, first choice wing back. Really, there's only one weakness in defence, and it's the left back wing back position. Forget being a centre back. That's one week. I agree. It's a weak area. Yeah, we need well, we need a centre back. I think Diop. I like Diop, and I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but he just didn't. He wasn't good last night. Whereas Dawson was. Masuaku. If we sold him in January, it wouldn't upset me at all. Um, Anton, there is something in playing two up top with Antonio and Bowen. Yeah, there is, and I just wonder. Like I said just a moment ago, I wonder if we had Bowen and then put it, and then with Antonio being off, a goal poacher, someone who can nick those goals, we would have won that game last night. Vinay, Suchek had 3 good shots on goal and Yarmo hit the bar. He did hit the bar. The way he languishes around. Lee Catamoles on a free would be a nice signing. GP, good morning to you, Hammerette. I hope you're well. I do read the comments. I always read the comments, but not the ones that are rubbish from Anton. Thanks for last night, Anton. Oh, yeah. I won't go further into that. Vinay, Vlasic for the first time tried to take on his man. He looked all right last night. I think he played pretty decent, to be honest with you. Russ, maybe Ocaflex has COVID. Good point, because we know that we got a couple of players who contracted it, so maybe he has. Hammerette, albeit a loss, I was impressed with our determination last night. Absolutely. Excuse me. Pardon me. Hammerette, I didn't want that cup anyway. Of course, we got bigger fish to fry. Good morning to you, Ian. RIP Asaji Bascom, 23-year-old ex-Darlington player. Oh dear. Sorry to hear that, Ian. What else we got? Jake. Nice and sunny outside Stamford Bridge. That's correct, Jake. Honestly, mate. You know, you're mixing with the wrong people. You know, the more you talk to Anton and Russ, the worse it's just going to get for you. Jake, good morning. Still needs a little jingle. Well, I did look for one, something that won't break any rules. Teapot Trick Pixie, good morning to you. The better team lost last night. I like the back five at the moment, with one of our number 10s playing behind Bowen and Antonio, similar formation to Spuds and Chelsea. Um, I think we could have gone, especially as the game was going for us in the second half. I think we could have gone with a back four at some stage. As I suggested earlier, we could have put Ashby at right back. We could have switched Johnson over to left back. He played really well, by the way, Johnson. Makeshift centre back, third centre back, played really well. If we'd have gone with four at the back and then maybe pushed on even more, but we did. We played really well. We did. GP prefer to see the cats asleep. My pub's been shut down now until Christmas. I think it will all go. Oh dear. Sorry to hear that. Good morning to you, Billy Bob. I hope you're well. Hammerette, will we still have the live chat on pre-recorded shows? Yes, you would. You would. You'd still be able to chat away. Can you actually put them up on the screen? I think you can. Someone will have to man the chat, but yes, you could. Good morning, Kaiser. I hope you're well. Yeah, exactly. Follow my guidance, and you will be a superstar. Trust me. You do not want to. You do want to follow Anton or Russ. They're boring. Uh, Moses Lumpini, we lost it. I'm upset. We did lose. I was upset, but like I said, I think it's the performance that I'm looking at. The performance I think was encouraging, really encouraging. Crosshammer. Shame about the pubs and the bowling. Just had that makeover too. It is lovely. The new bowling. Saw the inside of it. Marlon, good morning. Spurs outclassed you yesterday. Unlucky. Well, not really, Marlon. Let's be really honest, mate. They didn't outclass us at all. Spurs scored 2 goals, and that was it. And then they sat back in the second half. For you to say that they outclassed us means that you probably didn't get to see the game. Um, GP, Stel, I miss the good old days when you could force kids to work. Spurs Savage, good morning to you. Morning, guys. Not here to take the piss, just to say great game. You had us on the ropes for the last 20 minutes. Just came across the channel, Rice and Bone up. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. We welcome any fans on here. We're civil to you, you're civil to us, and really appreciate what you just said there. I think we were unlucky. I think, you guys got what you needed in the first half and you sat back, you absorbed the pressure. And Spurs have got players that can actually do that quite well, because Moyes tends to, talked about this the other day. Moyes tends to want to do that with West Ham sometimes, absorb the pressure. And I just don't think we've got the right players to do that. Whereas Spurs demonstrated a lot of resilience. And thank you for making the comments, by the way, as well. Still to Philip Deck's last game for. I didn't say it was his last. See, I didn't say it was his last game. I think Deck seems to be relishing, this season because I just fear that maybe I don't want to go there. Russ, Antonio would not have scored that goal last night. I suggest classy finish from him. Yeah. I'm not suggesting it would have been Antonio. I was actually quite glad, to be honest, and I know that sounds a bit weird. I was actually quite glad that Antonio wasn't in the game because it made us play a different way. We played differently. We were playing football last night, playing it along the ground, passing movement, etc., etc. We actually, because there's a tendency, isn't there, when Antonio's on the pitch, and please don't get me wrong, this ain't an Antonio slating session, but when Antonio's on the pitch, it's usually hoof it to him, let him hold it up, we move, into attacking positions. Whereas last night without him, it meant that we had to, play from the back, pass and move, and we got some decent players around Vlasic looked good. Lanzini had spells. When Fornals came on, he looked good. Ben Rama, all right. Sometimes he took chances that maybe he shouldn't have done. But we had to pass and move because we didn't have Antonio up front. All that was missing was just that goal poacher. But yeah, I think Bowen I think did well. But with as Anton mentioned a moment ago, maybe another player up front with Bowen, might have won us a game. Um, Spurs Savage. I hate that song. Which one? Uh, oh, that one. Diamond Lights by Hoddle and Waddle. Scott has massive. Unfortunately, not, mate. No, no. I don't see what managers see in him. I'm sorry, but I just don't know what managers see in him. Jake, can you put the background on a hinge with a small electric motor, not only put it back vertically, but give the cat a zap too? What, James? What? You've lost me there. Um, let's scroll down. Morning, Dan. Much improved performance last night, but our defending down the left side was infuriating. That's what let us down. That's what let us down. Hammerette, I'm happy with pre-recorded shows as a backup to the live ones you can't do. Great, thank you. I might consider doing that. Spurs Savage, mate. As soon as you get to spend, West Ham will be a force. New centre back, midfielder, and a striker in your set. Thank you. Know what? Much respect to him for coming on. And being gracious in the way that you are, and I really appreciate that, mate. Thank you. Um, Russ, what I've been saying with Antonio, it's too easy to throw the ball down the line. Use him when it's right. Yeah, agreed. Anil, good morning to you. I enjoy the way we played yesterday. A proper cup tie. Just a shame we couldn't force a second goal. Absolutely agreed. Scott, who saw the stat come up during a 10-minute spell? We had 89% possession. We dominated that game. Kane was anonymous. Yeah, there was a. We felt honestly, we felt in that second half, we really felt that we were gonna get that equaliser. We really did. Um, Hammerette, Son annoyed the crap out of me last night. Well, you know what? He's a good player, but he did jump around a little bit. But there you go. Pete Gaz really miss Ogbonna, Zuma, and Cressy. I mean, massively. And Sufal. You think about those three players you got on that, Oggy, Zuma, Cressy, and Sufal. That's our back line, or a whole back line missing. Spurs Savage. I think we've seen Masu's weakness in the sport that mate. You could see it a mile off, but you're absolutely right. Alex, Will's a problem. No, I don't think so. I think this is the reason why I thought to do the show this morning, because I think I saw enough in that game last night to show me that the wheels haven't fallen off. I kept saying, and I've been saying for a while, it's a slump, and it's not a great slump. We know that, ever since Wolves up to now, the only game that you could argue that we've really sort of turned up was the second half against Chelsea. But all other games otherwise have not been fantastic. Let's not beat around the bush. But our performance against Spurs with a depleted squad, with a depleted side, was something to really sort of like grab hold of, because we played well. We played really well, and we were unlucky not to get that second goal. So, no, I disagree, Alex. Sorry, mate. I don't think the wheels have fallen off at all. Um, Scott, when Conte brought Winks on, he shut the game down, unfortunately. Yeah, that's what a good manager does. Absolutely. Anil, we lost the cup tie in a competition that we've never won. The wheels are not coming off. Absolutely. Jordan, Alex, we can still come back from this. If we can just finish top six this season, it'll still be huge. Top four is a couple of seasons away at the moment. It will take some time. Good point, Jordan. Absolutely correct. I totally agree. And this is what worries me. And I've asked it quite a few times. What is our expectation? Uh, being in the top four has been fantastic. Absolutely. Missing out on Champions League by a couple of points last season was a massive achievement. But we are a couple of seasons away. You're absolutely right, Jordan. We're just not there yet. Moyes has said it. We're not the finished article yet. We still work in progress. And as Spurs Savage has said, a couple more players, in key positions, we will be top notch. Absolutely. Hammerette, play like that in the next couple of games and we'll be 6 points ahead easily, in my opinion. Bang on. Totally agree. Cross hammer. It's good to play Southampton on Sunday from that performance, even though we lost. Hopefully, Cresswell's back. We kind of think that Cressy ain't going to be back. It just doesn't look good at the moment with Cresswell, and we wonder if it's going to be a longer layoff than we thought. Marshall, good morning to you. Big up West Ham. Love the content. Liverpool fan. Thank you for joining as usual. We've got a Spurs fan in here, got a Liverpool fan. Thank you for joining and thank you for the compliment. Good morning to you, Kent. I hope you're well, mate. Goals pay the rent. If Allaire was playing last night still, we get an equaliser. Missed defenders, in all seriousness, we are missing deadly striker. Kent, you and I are singing from the same hymn sheet, and you know it, mate, don't you? You know it. It's ironic. The way we played last night probably would have suited Allaire. There you go. There you go. And I'm surprised that Kent and I are the only ones that see this. And everyone's saying, "Oh, Allaire was crap." Well, it's obvious that we should have got. It's not. It's really not obvious that we should have got rid of him. Kaiser, Souček was unlucky a few times. I think Dawson was as well, but absolutely. Hammerette, Savage, and Marshall. Make sure you like and subscribe, fellas, for more content. We like decent opposition views. Absolutely right. Thank you for that, Hammerette. GP. I think the Souček needs to drive forward rather than that. I said this a few weeks ago and I got absolutely slated for it. There you go. Alex, we're in poor form, being worked out. But Alex, what did you watch last night? Seriously, mate. I'm not asking this facetiously. I'm interested to know your opinion because what I saw last night and what everyone else saw, we were at the game, and I'm sure if you're on the watch-alongs or watching it from home, etc. What did you see last night that you think was poor form? Last night's effort was absolutely fantastic. I think we actually played quite well in the first half as well. And I think we improved and we got better in the second half. So I agree with you. We've not played great since Wolves, and we had a cameo second half against Chelsea. That I agree with. But yesterday's game against Spurs gave me a lot of encouragement because it showed that we are, we can easily get back in form again. Dan, how did Dawson miss that header at the back stick? Yeah, that was a bit of an open goal. That P-Gads, West Ham need an offensive change in the second half. Masu for Benny or Pablo. Yeah, he did do that. Well, there's the irony. Three subs and Masuaku stayed on despite three subs. And that we were all like, surely to God, at some point Masuaku would be taken off that pitch. And no, he stayed on, played the whole game. James, we have a very small senior squad and carry to useless Fs like Masuaku and Yama. And yet, Yarmolenko came on. We were all laughing. He sort of like strolled on, went to the right hand side of the pitch, and we all said, "That's him done. He's knackered already." And then right at the death, he almost scored a goal. Oh, no, but I'm not. I think he needs to go. Crosshammer. Anyone know how long? We don't know how long. We kept being told that he's not far off, late fitness tests and all that stuff. It probably looks like it might be a bit longer than anticipated. Peter Jones, I feel the Spurs fans and most of West Ham supporters have got it right to I feel the Spurs fan and most of West Ham supporters have got it right to three good additions to the team, and I think we're going places. By the way, Merry Christmas to you as well, Peter. Yeah, three good additions. I don't think we'll get three good additions in January. I think we'll get two, and that'll be our lot. But I think yeah, absolutely. Centre back, striker, maybe another left back. GP Haller started scoring just before we sold him. No, he actually didn't do too bad in the first season. Already subscribed. Thank you, Sir Spurs Savage. Already subscribed. Thank you, Marshall. Hammerette. We have some players underperforming, but last night was a positive spin on our game. Have faith. Window is a couple of weeks away. Top six, and we could still be ours. Top six and a cup. Look, people, come on. We're still in the Europa League. Let's hope we don't get knocked out in the knockout stages. But anyway, still in the Europa League. FA Cup to come. We'll forget the League Cup. We'll go for the FA Cup instead. GP. Don't listen to this though. They're all as daft as brushes. Souček scored 11. He did. He was joint top goal scorer. Kent, we were a sniffer away from winning last night. Put Kane in West Ham team. We win that by 2 goals. Poacher. Absolutely. Alex. Moyes wouldn't know a good striker if one bit him. Look, in that respect, I agree with you. And I did a show a couple of weeks ago, the West Ham Weekly, not last week, week before, where I went through Moyes's transfers, in his career as a manager. And I think he's had something like, I think he's been involved in something like 285 transfers, like players coming in on loan, being sold, bought, and all that sort of stuff. And out of those, only 30 of them were strikers, and not all those strikers actually did very good. So in that respect, I agree with you. Spurs, Savage. Peter Jones will be different teams when we spend. Got them firing. No reason we couldn't be top 6 easily. Yeah. We're talking about Spurs. You're talking about West Ham. Alex, defending was horrible for him. I agree with you there as well. Kent, I would have moved Johnson to left back and gone for a 4. Yeah, this is what I said earlier on. At some point in the game, it might have been better if Johnson had gone left back, put Ashby as a traditional right back, and just move forward. I think it could have worked. It could have worked. Alex, yes, we have Newman, but we also have GSB. Well, this is things have changed now with West Ham, and I think we've got to let Moyes demonstrate that they have. Moyes when Moyes was asked to sign an extended contract, one of the stipulations was that he has total control of transfers, as in he's the one that chooses the players. He'll give a list to the board and say, "This is how I want you to target." And he also said, "I want a scouting system," and he's beginning to create that with Rob Newman coming in, etc., etc. What West Ham are now doing now, what Moyes is doing is their scouting system is the ones that will look at players and will go to the board and say, these are our prime targets. Let's not forget, we spent 26, 27 million pounds on Zuma in the summer. If the board weren't backing Moyes, they wouldn't have spent that money on him. 26, 27 million pounds on Vlasic. So we are spending money. Whereas before it was scattergun. We know that. Sullivan will go out and buy a player that maybe just didn't fit the system or whatever. And Sullivan dipped his hand too many times in transfer deals. Trying to find players for the manager and so on. Things have changed now. So what the board have to do, and especially with Kretinsky coming in as well, there's more stability there financially, and I think this is where Moyes and his scouts will identify players. Hopefully, they've already identified a centre back and a striker, and they will give the list to the board and say these are our prime targets. Hopefully, Anil. Alex, I agree with Moyes struggles to buy strikers, but goal scoring midfielders are his specialty. They are, which is why we always seem to buy attacking midfielders. Yes, Marshall, we'd bite your hand off. And apparently, if your manager is anything to go by, we were in for him in the summer, but apparently we walked away from a deal. I don't know why we would have done that. Fred, good happy Christmas to you as well, mate. Thank you for joining. Aditya, good morning to you. West Ham cracks starting to open up. Moyes were overachieving up. But I'm shocked. Yes, we have been poor. But again, I'm talking about last night's performance and the platform that puts us on to move forward from there. For me, last night demonstrated that there's fight in this team already, or still, should I say. Alex, I said it months ago about Moyes striker issues. Yeah, we know it. We know it. James, at the end of the day, it was a narrow loss to Spurs, who have already beaten. We've already beaten this year. Yes, we're out of the cup. The triple is still on. Absolutely. Hammerette, seriously, some fans are acting like once again we're in a wreck. This is the surprise. A couple of seasons ago, you're absolutely right. We were languishing down the bottom and threat of relegation. Now we're unhappy because we're out of the top four. You know, I- I'm happy. I'm happy. I'd be much happier up there than I would be down there. I totally agree. Dan, watching Diop try to play out with his left foot was painful. It was painful. Diop didn't have a good game, unfortunately. Fred deserved the goal second half. Badly needed a goal scorer in January. I totally agree. Alex, Areola won't sign permanently. These 6 words will be why Sam Johnson free agent. Well, no. My theory is that we will sign Areola on a permanent and bring Sam Johnson in on a free as well, because Fabianski will. I know there was talk about maybe Fabianski extending his contract, and even if he does, he might end up becoming our third choice. I think Areola and Johnson will both come in. To be honest with you. John, good morning to you. Huge transfer window in January. Our paper thin squad has well and truly reared its head, and we're seeing what we preempted. But do you think, John, after last night's performance, that there's some hope there? Although I agree, we do need to strengthen. Hammer it. I do believe we would have won that had we gone to penalties. Yeah, that's what we were kind of thinking in the crowd as well. John, last showed our best form of defence is attack. Last night, I agree with that as well. I don't want to do the sitting back against like we did against Arsenal. Alex, fair point about GSB. That was a great point proven. No, everyone's got their opinion. Please don't misunderstand me, mate. I get the whole GSB thing, and I totally agree with what's happened in the past. But I think Moyes has been adamant about what he wants, how he wants to manage, especially players, transfers, etc. Um, acting like Chelsea fans. I'd say we're acting like Arsenal fans who expect everything. That's what I fear. James, maybe we can send out some claret and blue West Ham rope to some supporters this Christmas. Epic. Why would Areola want to stay? Because he'll be number one next season. Well, with Johnson. Uh, Chris, good morning to you. The fee for Areola is cheap. Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, I was surprised. I thought there was a catch, but yeah. And I think he's a decent keeper. I really do. Hammerette was going to say Liverpool fans, but Marshall has earned my respect. Spencer, if we played in the Brighton and Wolves games like we did last night, we'd have blitzed those games. Bang on. Totally agree. And if we played last night like that last night, we could have got something out of the Arsenal game as well. John, yeah, last night brought back hope of how we can play and should play. Always positive. How's Nick doing this morning, John? Is he, is he, is he sort of rocking around in a dark room, or is he okay? Ken Hammers, the balance Oggy and Crazy give us is massive. Both can play and break the line. You know what? We miss them so much, so much. Dixon Sider, good morning to you. Stel, did you get in? Did you get? No, we saw it. We saw there was something happen as we were coming out. We were being ushered over to the left side, and as we were coming out, there were home fans, etc., to our right. And I think some of them either charged us or we charged them or whatever. But there were a few fisticuffs there, and the police quickly broke that up. But then we were marshalled over to Northumberland Park. What? Oh, anyone that ever complains about getting to Stratford Station after a game at home, you ought to try Northumberland Park and see how bad that is. It was awful. And then, of course, because we were being funneled, West Ham fans were being funneled one side and Spurs fans were being funneled the other side. Of course, you know what bloody well happened, don't you? They got to a point just before we got to the station and there were fisticuffs there as well. Stupid, but there you go. Apparently, one of our fans got knocked unconscious. I don't. Apparently, that was before the game, though. But yeah, there were a few scraps, even behind us when they scored their first. This is how weird their new stadium is built because you've got the away fans, and then you've got a glass partition, and there's like what it looks like is sort of I don't know like a boxes or something, but fans can come out onto a terrace with only a bit of glass in front. Home fans, and of course there were a few fisticuffs after when they scored their first goal as well. But there you go, there you go. Alex, what's the point of Crowley if you can't if you can't come play a game? He has done a Zaha and had a go at Moyes. Has he done a Zaha and is going to go at Moyes? Crowell, I do want to see more of him, but maybe last night. I think Moyes was absolutely right to put Soucek and Declan on. He wanted his strongest team, but I think Crowell's got some he'll have some game time, I'm sure. Richard, afternoon still. What we have a good run coming up for us if we play like we did last night. Dex should get a knighthood by the way he played last night. Absolutely agreed. Right, that's my lot because the morning show's now gone into the afternoon. Thank you all for watching. This is meant to be brief. It was meant to be a brief show to talk about how encouraging I thought our game was against Spurs. Despite a depleted squad, but putting out like a weakened team, etc., we actually played really well, and that gives me a lot of hope moving forward. And people that have been saying it are absolutely right. We played. If we'd have played last night, if we played the way we did against, like Wolves, etc., we would have been a few points better off than we currently are. And it gives me a lot of encouragement. Had it been absolutely crap, I would have said you lot are right, on a downward path, etc. But last night's performance was really encouraging. Thank you all for watching. Much appreciated. I think there'll be another show on later on, so do look out for the what do you call it? If you've subscribed, you'll get an alert and all that sort of stuff. Have a good day. I'll see you all soon.